What's up guys, I'll be walking you through this experience design I made from the most amazing mobile bank application, popularly known as ALAT. As a big proponent of teaching by example, I decided to create an experience design from the real-life ALAT application. So basically this is a prototype design with just 4 pages. As you can see, I didn't want the tutorials to be so long, hence I had to cut it down to just 4 pages, which is going to be in series. Each series is going to be breaking down every component you see there into tiny chunks so you can easily grasp the whole concept of UI and UX design. So first of all, we are greeted by this onboarding screen, which consists of a logo and horizontal scroll view components containing images. This particular image you see here. This scrolling effect is made possible by a powerful component of ADOBE XD called the horizontal scroll view. Next, we have a login button, and if you notice, this login button has a hover state on it. When I click on the login button, it takes me to another page which contains essential fields for logging in a user into the website. Also, we have a sign up link here which takes us to another page where the user is given the requirements for a sign in, which is the BVN, the photo of your face and photo of your signature. Then on click of the proceed button, it takes us to another page, and I want you to notice the little hover state we have on the buttons. If you notice, when I hover my mouse on it, the color changed to this darker color, which is a very cool component of ADOBE XD, which we are going to cover in this tutorial. Also, we have this page that asks for the email address and the phone number. Then we also have this arrow button that takes us back. This is a very cool navigation tool. Also, when I click on the get wallet, it takes the user to the same page which asks for his BVN, the photo of his face and photo of his signature, and also what he stands to get or stand to gain when he signs up with the mobile app. Okay, when I click on the proceed again, we are taken to this same page. Then we have this back arrow, easy navigation tool, and that's basically the whole app. It's a very simple application. So don't be worried if you are new to UI, UX, prototyping and ADOBE XD as a whole, because this tutorial is for absolute beginners and those who don't have any idea on UI and UX or prototyping as a whole. But of course, if you have been following my other design tutorials on my YouTube channel, this is going to be a cakewalk for you. If you noticed, the interface of this software is different from the regular Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator we have been using. This is because I promise to keep you updated on different ICT trends as a tech savvy. Therefore, I decided to introduce prototyping and experience design on my YouTube channel. As a software developer, do expect to see tutorials on coding on this channel very soon, as I will be transforming all prototypes and experience designs into real-life application softwares. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as this will encourage me to create more amazing content like this. So enough of boring talks, let us begin this creation. So guys, I'm going to start by creating a new document. I'm going to head over to File, click on New. So as we can see, there are different screen layouts. There's screen layout for iPhones, that's for phones, for the web, that's for websites, for Instagram story, and you can also create your own custom size. But I'm just going to stick to iPhone 12 Pro Max. There's also a drop down where you can also select different screen size. Google Pixel 5, iPhone 6, 7, 8, but I'm not interested in all that. I'm interested in iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'm just going to click on it. Alright, then I'm going to maximize this. So first of all, I'm going to change this by double clicking on it. I'm going to change this to main page. Then I'm going to tap enter on my keyboard. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my logo, the ALAT logo. I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to click and drag it to a document here. Alright, so here it is. So the next thing I'm going to do is to resize this. It's too big. I'm just going to hold on the shift on my keyboard, click and drag a bit. Then I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to click and drag to reduce it something smaller. Okay, this is okay. I'm going to leave all the document I used, all the files I used in this project or in this prototype design in the link in the description below. So just head over to the link in the description below to download all the files and document I used so you can follow along with this tutorial. Alright, I'm just going to scale this up a bit by using my arrow key. The next thing I'm going to do is to go to my text tool to type. So first of all, I'm going to type. I'm going to click on the artboard here and I'm going to type. Okay, so I'm going to type, don't just set goals. Don't just set goals. Alright, so I'm going to drop my tool over here. Then I'm just going to align this vertically, horizontally. Okay, I'm going to take this upwards. Then I'm going to my text over here. Then I'm going to select Montserrat. So instead of just scrolling, I'm just going to type in Montserrat. I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. Then I'm going to set this to 21. Then I'm going to set this to semi bold. Alright, then I'm just going to scale this horizontally. Okay, this is fine. Then I'm going to change the color. I'm going to head over here. Using Adobe XD is pretty simple. The interface is much more simpler than even Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator and other Adobe software I've used in my life. So it's just very easy and straightforward. So I'm just going to come over here to change the color of my text. I have it in my notepad. I'm just going to use the primary color, I guess. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste, Ctrl V. Then I'm just going to press enter on my keyboard. Alright, here we have it. Next thing I'm going to do is to duplicate this. So I'm just going to edit the other text. So I'm going to hold down Ctrl D on my keyboard. Then I'm just going to use my arrow key to bring it downwards. Alright, this is just fine. So the next thing I'm going to do is to double click on this. I'm just going to type score them, then with a full stop. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to align it horizontally, then come over to the text format. I'm still going to leave it at 21. Then I'm going to change this to bold. Alright, then I'm going to change the color a bit. I'm going to head on to my notepad, then give it the dark text color I have over here. Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Then I'm going to tap enter on my keyboard. Alright, there we have it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a little rectangle here. I'm going to insert an image into this rectangle. I'm just going to center this nicely by coming over here to align this horizontally. That's center horizontally. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my image into this rectangle. I'm just going to head over to my image and click and drag it as usual. So I'm going to click on this image. I'm just going to drag it into my workspace on my artboard, right into this cycle. Right into this rectangle. I'm sorry about that. So you can see it fits nicely into this rectangle. So I'm just going to scale it up a bit by holding down the shift as usual to just click and drag. Alright, then same process, I'm going to align this center horizontally. Then I'm just going to use my arrow key to move it upwards. Okay, I guess this is fine. So I'm just going to, first of all, I'm going to introduce you to a very cool Adobe XD component used for prototype design or UI UX design. It actually makes my work very much easier, which is the repeat grid system. So instead of me creating different rectangle, inserting image and going through the same process all over and all over again, all I need to do is just to click on this repeat grid here, and I'm just going to drag it, and wow, you can see I can drag as much as I want to. If I want 10,000 images, I'm just going to drag them like that and repeat it. So what this basically do is just to repeat and repeat. So that's just it. So all what I'm going to do is just to click on this, and I'm just going to edit the image. So first of all, I'm going to come over to my image here. I'm going to replace this with this image over here. I'm going to click and drag into our project as usual. Okay, I'm just going to paste it inside here, and wow, look at the magic. It's fitting nicely and perfectly. I'm just going to still repeat the same process by coming over here. I'm going to fill in the rectangle with the third image, click and drag into our project as usual, and paste, and boom, that's the magic. So now if you notice something, when I click outside, the whole image has disappeared, leaving us with this white rectangle, or with this rectangle with its border. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take away this annoying border around this rectangle. So I'm just going to click on this rectangle, come over here, and if you look at this place here, you see the border has been checked. I'm going to uncheck it, and you can see the border has disappeared. So before I play this prototype design, I'm just going to add one more cool component which I told you about earlier. It's going to be called the horizontal scroll view. Is this little button over here, or this little icon over here, horizontal scroll. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this, and now let's see the magic. Now when I click on this, I'm going to click on this play button now, and let's see what we have done thus far. So now this is the image. So because I added this horizontal scroll view, or horizontal scroll, it can allow me to scroll this image horizontally. You can see, isn't this so cool? Isn't this so wonderful? But now we have a few problem, or we have little problem. I can see the other images showing up in this first page, which I don't want. So I'm just going to change that a bit. So I'm just going to double click on this. Alright, so you can see the other two items as shown. The next thing I'm going to do is to, if you look at this, in between these images, we have this kind of a little guide. It's kind of showing us that we can actually increase the space around or reduce the space. You can see by just clicking and dragging on it. So I'm just going to increase the space around in such a way that when an image is showing, the other image is not going to show. And I'm just going to center this nicely in the center. Alright, this is okay. Then I'm just going to click outside, and there we have it. I'm just going to reduce the size of these images. So I'm just going to double click on this, and if you notice, these nodes have appeared. I'm just going to click on shift and drag it inwards or inside. Alright, then I'm going to click on this also. Alright, okay, I'm going to reduce the space around now. Then I'm just going to place this over here. Okay, somewhere like this. Alright, this is okay. So I'm still going to increase the size of this image a bit. It's just my adjustment strategy. Okay, this is okay, this is better. So I'm just going to take it up. Sorry, Ctrl Z. Okay, and this is it. There we have it. Alright, I'm going to use my arrow key to just take it upwards a bit, then shift it left. Alright, so let's play this prototype to see what we have done. Okay, I'm going to click on the play button, and when I scroll again, we have the second image, we have the third image, then this is it. Okay, so this is going pretty cool. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to implement my login button and my get started button. So basically what I'm just going to do is to click on this rectangle, and I'm going to just drag it over here. Alright, okay, then I'm going to make few adjustments to this rectangle. First, I'm going to align it to the center. Then I'm going to first of all change the corner radius. I'm going to give it 7, a corner radius of 7. Okay, then I'm going to give it a fill color of, let's check our code here, of let's say, okay, let me give this white. Control V. All right, there we have it. So I'm going to change the color of the border. Okay, I'm going to click on this border here and come over to my color code, and I'm going to select this color, the primary color here, then Control V, then tap enter on my keyboard, and there we have it. The next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my text tool to type, and I'm just going to type outside. You won't want to type inside, so it will not cause other complication like, you know, clipping to the rectangle itself and other little problems like that. So I'm just going to type log in. All right, let me just type them together. Log in, or let's say log in. Okay, so there we have it. So I'm going to click and drag it upwards. All right, so I'm going to set this, I'm going to align it horizontally, center. Then I'm going to change this to medium. Okay, then I'm going to set this to 20. All right, then I'm going to change the color of the text to that same primary color. I believe we still have the color code. I'm going to paste. Okay, there we have it. So I'm just going to use my arrow key to adjust it upwards a bit. Okay, this place is fine. Lest I forget, we can also make adjustment by using Adobe XD ruler guides or guidelines. So if you notice, once I just tilt this text or adjust it a bit, you can notice that there's going to be a guide coming out. You can see indicating that I can actually place my text here, that this is the center, or you can see an horizontal guide also indicating that I can also place it there. So just make sure you make use of the guideline to, you know, ensure you have proper alignment. So I'm just going to place it over here. This is okay. So that's going to be it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I will want to highlight this, just this button over here together with the text, and I'm going to Ctrl G, that is to group this together, and I'm going to edit this, sorry about that. I'm going to call it login button. All right, so I'm just going to tap enter on my keyboard. The next thing I'm going to do is to duplicate this button. So I'm just going to Ctrl D on this button, and if you notice it's already duplicated, I'm just going to drag this one downwards a bit. All right, okay, something like this. So I'm just going to, if you notice, there's, you know, a number in between indicating the number of spaces around the buttons. For example, this is 19, this is 20. So I'm just going to leave it as 20. I'm just going to make few adjustments to this button. First of all, I'm going to double click on the text and change it to get started. All right, then I'm going to click on here, make sure I align it to the center. Okay, like this. Then I'm going to change the background of this button. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to change it to the primary color we have over here. Let me paste it, Ctrl V. I believe it's still on our clipboard, and I'm going to click on enter. So if you notice, our text is gone. So I'm just going to double click on the text and change the color of the text to white. Okay, I'm just going to copy the code over here, copy, and I'm going to Ctrl V, paste. So there we have it. So I'm going to change it to, let's say, regular is fine. All right, so there we have it. So I'm just going to click on the play button. Let's see what we have. Wow, this is so beautiful. We have our horizontal scroll. We also have our login button. But if you notice, this login is a little bit down, so I'm just going to adjust it. I'm going to click on the login itself, and I'm going to manually adjust it by using my arrow key. Okay, so that is fine. So I'm just going to implement the other links. First of all, I'm going to highlight all this by, clicking and dragging over, or just, holding down Ctrl A on your keyboard. Ctrl A is still going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to shift this upwards a bit using my arrow key, so we'll have space below for the other links I'm going to bring in. So first of all, I'm going to click on this rectangle tool here, Then I'm just going to draw a little rectangle over here. Okay, something like this will do. Alright, then I'm going to make few adjustments as usual. I'm going to set this to the corner radius to 7, or I'm going to make it 13. Alright, 13 is fine. Then I'm going to uncheck this, the border. Then I'm going to change the fill color to, I have a color code over here. I'm just going to copy this, copy the secondary color, and I'm going to Ctrl V, paste. Alright, there we have it. So I'm going to drop my rectangle tool. The next thing I'm going to do is to pick my text tool to type. I'm just going to type get in touch. I'm sorry it's not visible. I'm going to zoom into this so we are going to see properly. So all I'm doing is to hold down my Alt key. I'm going to drop my text tool first. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and I'm going to use my scroll wheel to just, I'm just going to scroll over it to zoom in. Or I can say Ctrl 0, then I'm just going to hit Ctrl plus on my keyboard. That's another way to zoom in Adobe XD. So it's alright. So there we have it. This text is not visible because the color is set to white. So I'm just going to set the color to our dark text color over here, 4D. Okay, Ctrl V and paste. Alright, so let's see what we have over here. Okay, this is get in touch. So I'm just going to make few adjustments to the text. I'm going to set the text to 13. I'm going to set it to bold. Okay, then I'm just going to shift it upwards a bit. Alright. So like I said, don't neglect the Adobe XD guidelines. Alright, so there we have it. I'm going to leave it here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in the icon for this rectangle. I already have it in my project files, which I'm still going to leave for you guys in the description box below. So I'm just going to click on these icons over here. Okay, let's wait for it to load. Alright, okay, let's wait. The patient dog eats the fattest bone or the largest bone. Alright, I'm going to click on this icon over here. Then I'm going to Ctrl C, copy. Okay, then come over to my projects, and I'm going to Ctrl V, paste. So there we have it. So I'm just going to click and drag it over here. Then I'm going to hold down my shift to drag it inside or inwardly. Then I'm just going to place it over here. As like I said, don't neglect the guidelines. So I'm just going to place it over here where these guidelines is showing or indicating I should place it. So I'm just going to leave it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to actually change the color. I don't like this black. I'm going to change the fill color to, let's say, the primary color. The primary color will do. Okay, I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste up. Oops, I'm sorry about that. Ctrl V. Then I'm going to click on or tap enter on my keyboard, and there we have it. So I'm just going to highlight all this. I'm going to highlight all this. Then I'm going to Ctrl G, that's to group. Okay, so I'm just going to save it as get in touch. Alright, and I'm going to tap enter on my keyboard. I'm going to hold down my Alt as usual to just adjust the size a bit to make room for other components. Then who can guess my next move? So if you can remember earlier in the preview I made before I started this tutorial, there were actually 3 links below the get started button. So I'm just going to duplicate it 3 times, or like I said earlier, there's actually a more effective way to duplicate or to make multiple items in Adobe XD instead of just copying and pasting or duplicating or pressing shortcut and just like that. So I'm just going to head over to the repeat grid and I'm just going to click on it. So I'm just going to spread it over to as much as I want. And also I didn't tell you, you can also spread it horizontally and vertically. So you can see vertically, horizontally, like as much as you want. This is such a powerful tool. That's why I prefer this to, you know, Figma and any other design software. Adobe XD is just really cool and friendly for beginners to follow on. So I'm just going to spread it just, I think, 3 times. I guess 3 times is okay because that was what was in the preview. I'm going to come over to this place indicating the space in between these links, and I'm just going to, you know, spread it over to fit in nicely. Alright, there we have it. Then I'm going to, okay, let me just reduce it a bit. This is too much. Then I'm going to align this center. So the next thing I'm going to do is to actually change the icons and the text for each of these links. So I'm just going to speed up the entire process. So I'm going to fast forward the video. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, guys, is to bring in my text tool, and I'm going to type in the version. So this is going to be version, that's V version 4. Let's say 5.0. I'm just going to give it a random version of 4.6.0. I'm going to edit it a bit. I'm going to give it 16, a font size of 16, and I'm going to give it a font width of semi-bold. Then I'm going to drop my text tool, then finally align its center horizontally, and that is all. So the next thing I'm going to do is to hold down Ctrl+0 on my keyboard. That's to take it to our main page or to full view. So let's play this prototype design and let's see our progress. I'm just going to play it, and wow, this is so beautiful. Like, it looks so realistic. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add an overstate to these buttons. So once we hover across it, or when we place our mouse over it, it's just going to show us a little overstate. So we can easily implement the overstate by just selecting the button. That's the login button. I'm just going to double click on it to make sure that we are actually in the rectangle itself. Alright, then I'm just going to come to components. I'm going to click this plus icon here. You can see we have a default state, which is the the normal state, the login state. So now I'm just going to click on this plus icon also. If you notice, when I hovered around it, there's an add state. I'm just going to click on it, and you are going to see new state, overstate, and toggle state. What I'm interested in is the overstate. I'm just going to click on the overstate. Okay, then I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. So let's initialize, or let's implement an action when this button is hovered upon. So I'm just going to, I just want the background color to change, so I'm going to just give it this gray color over here. I'm just going to slide my color picker over here. It's alright. So this is fine by me. Okay, so make sure you switch it to the default state. So I'm just going to come over here and make sure it's on the default state. Alright, so if you notice, there's a difference between the default state and the overstate. Once I click on the default state component, we have the normal state of the login button, but when I click on the overstate, we have the the overt state. That's when the mouse is hovered upon the button. I'm going to see that difference in a minute. Then I'm going to repeat the same process we did with the login button. I'm going to come over to the component, then make component, and there's also a shortcut, that's Ctrl+K. I'm going to click on this plus icon, then I'm also going to click on the add state, then make sure I select the overstate, then tap enter on my keyboard. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come over to the fill. That's to say, whenever a mouse is hovered on the get started button, I just want the background color to change to this over color I have over here. I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to paste, Ctrl V, sorry, and I'm going to paste. So it's alright. So we have a default, we have a component state now on this. So make sure it's in the default state. or else when you run your prototype you are not going to see the difference. This is the default state of the get started button, and this is the over state of the get started button. You can see the colors are different, so make sure it's always in the default state. So I'm going to do the same thing for the login too. I'm going to make sure it's in the default state. I'm going to double click this button and make sure I take it to the default state, and that is okay. So let's see what we have done. So I'm just going to click on this play button, and let's see what happens when we hover on this button. And wow, look at, we have our hover state on this button. Very beautiful. Let's also check the get started button. Wow, we also have hover state, a very neat hover state on the get started button. You can see, isn't this beautiful? So guys, as you can see, this video is already becoming too long, and I don't want it to be so long. So like I said earlier, this video is going to be in a series. This tutorial is going to be in a series. So if you want to know how I implemented other components of Adobe XD and how I also created other pages of this prototype design, do make sure you anticipate the next tutorial. I'm going to be releasing it part by part. I'm going to be making a series for it, so watch out for series 2 so you can actually learn, and subsequently the other series that will come after it. So with this, our tutorial for today has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to encourage me. I love you all. Thanks guys. God bless you.